and happy Wisdom Wednesday. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Maria Milagros, and I'm here to share with you a little something that hopefully, if you take it in, if you ingest it, if you sit with it, it can hopefully help bring you to another level of health and happiness. And I don't mean like next level and then you're done. I mean, each time we grow and expand, our levels increase in our health and happiness. Overall health, mental, physical, emotional, spiritual health, and true happiness that starts here. Not because of what's happening out here, but because of what's happening in here, in our thoughts, in our words, and in our actions, in how we use our time and energy to live our lives. During the month of October, we have been talking about self-awareness, and today in particular, I want to talk about self-forgiveness and the power, the necessity for self-forgiveness. Oftentimes we make a mistake in our past, or we have what we call a failure, right? I like to say failure is my friend. Making a mistake is a learning opportunity, because then I could see what I missed, or I could see how to do it better, right? But they can only be used that way when we are practicing self-awareness and allowing ourselves to learn from the moments. And then when we do, rather than carry the weight, the burden, the heaviness, the shame, the guilt of those mistakes or failures, we can use our self-awareness to recognize that we are on a journey. We are figuring it out. We are rewriting old programming. We are starting to tell ourselves a new story. So we didn't know what we didn't know. And even if we knew it intellectually, not until we know it through practice, through a cultivated practice internally, will it manifest itself into our lives, right? Because I hear a lot of times, like my clients, my coaching clients and other people will say, I don't know why I did that. I knew. Yeah, you knew, but you didn't know. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like getting in your car and you got someplace to go and the destination has a lot of squiggly squigs and turns. So you use your GPS. And the first couple of times you use your GPS because you want to make sure that you get there being guided, right? That's what self-awareness and paying attention and being conscious and being present is about. It's that guidance. And then the more you practice that route, the less you become dependent on your GPS, and the more it just becomes natural. Oh, I know how to get there, because you're paying attention, and little by little, you eventually get there. If you don't pay attention to where you're going and what you're doing, and you're just fully dependent on the GPS, you will always be dependent on the GPS. Right? So it's like that program, you're just running off of a program rather than allowing yourself to become aware of what you're doing and why you're doing it, so that you can get yourself from point A to point B and enjoy the journey along the way. You see where I'm going with this? Okay. So self-forgiveness is a really powerful thing that we can and must cultivate in order to live a more fulfilled and a happy life, in order to live a life that's fun. Because if every time we made a mistake or every time we had a failure, we would beat ourselves up or carry this weight and shame, one, we're not allowing ourselves to truly learn from it and grow. Two, we're not holding ourselves accountable and saying, I need to make amends. And then three, because we're not letting it go, we're weighed down. And when we're weighed down, we're less likely to practice true self-love, and we cannot give what we do not have, which means that we're holding back our gifts and our love from everyone else around us because we're carrying the shame and guilt, saying, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough. Those are lies. All humans make mistakes. All humans have failures, but not all humans learn and grow. So our job is to see it, acknowledge it, recognize that we didn't know any better, or even if, again, we knew it intellectually, we didn't know it internally, make a decision to cultivate a practice to do better, and then start moving the dial one step at a time, closer and closer and closer. Going back to that example with the GPS, I think about how this first place that I went to, the first 10 times I needed the GPS. And then the 11th time, I got about halfway without it, and then I realized, I'm kind of lost here. I don't know where I'm going. Then the next time, it was like I got a little further and a little further. And it's just like that. Cultivating this practice and just saying, I'm going to keep doing better. I'm not going to get it 100% the first time out the gate, but I'm going to keep doing better because I'm using my self-awareness and I'm being intentional about wanting to do better, right? If we find that we hurt someone, please be sure to make amends if it's possible, if it's safe, and if it's reasonable. If it's not safe physically or for your psyche, don't do it, right? And also recognize that when we go to make amends or to ask forgiveness from someone else, we should not be doing it in the request that they say, yes, I forgive you. Because if they don't forgive us, even though we're truly sorry and we truly want to make amends and we truly want to move forward, if they choose not to forgive us, they are choosing to hold on to that. That's theirs for whatever reason. No blame, no judgment, no guilt. That's theirs. But if we decide, I'm not going to forgive myself until they forgive me, you could be waiting your whole life for that, right? Depending on where they're at. That's not why we go to make amends. We go to make amends to genuinely say out loud, to acknowledge what we did, maybe to share why we did it, right? If you're self-aware and if you're able, and then to say, I am so genuinely sorry and I've learned this and I'm going to do better. I won't be perfect, but I'm going to do better. That's why we make amends, not for them to say we forgive you. Now, if it's not safe to do that, maybe you just write a letter and you shred it. Or maybe you write a letter and you burn it and you let the particles of it just kind of go back into the universe and you just free yourself of that thing. Keep in mind that when we make a decision to forgive ourselves, it doesn't happen always instantaneously. Sometimes, again, that is even a process, because if we've been running this old story for years about how horrible we are, it's going to take more than that one moment of deciding to let it all go. But what happens is when we make that decision, I forgive myself and I'm done. I'm moving forward from this point forward. When that thing pops up again, because it will, because it's been a programmed cycle for so long, we can turn to it and say, I see you, I know where you come from, but I have forgiven myself. You are free to leave now. And gently, lovingly, compassionately release it. And then practicing that until you get to the moment where it stops showing up. And then the forgiveness is like, right? It's like, oh, yes. So I want to read you this quick quote by Maya Angelou. And she said, every day I try to do better, see better, say better, talk better, be better. I do my best and I blow it 10 times out of 10 times out of 12. I ask forgiveness of anyone whose feelings I may have hurt. I ask forgiveness of God. I forgive myself, and then I start again. And practicing this through self-awareness, this self-forgiveness over and over and over again, choosing to learn from the moment and then make amends if you can, and if you can't, releasing it from yourself, practicing and cultivating that new practice of saying, I see you, I know where you come from, I've forgiven myself, I'm moving forward from this point on, right? Maybe you talk to a friend that you can trust, or someone in your family, a therapist or your coach, and just slowly releasing yourself of that thing, journaling it. Write it down, right? Whatever it may be, we have to, again, continue to practice this work of forgiving ourselves so that we can show up fully, so that we can love ourselves fully, so that we can give fully. And we're not blocked or hindered by shame or guilt. And we can just allow it to flow in through us and out into the world, making our own lives healthier and happier, and then creating those same impacts everywhere we go. Self-forgiveness is important. So if you have any other questions about self-forgiveness, please, hit me up. If you're looking for a life coach, I could be your person. I don't take everybody who reaches out because it's not always a good match. Or sometimes what people require is really therapy to go back and unpack stuff. Coaching is about this moment moving forward, right? We look at the past to understand how you got here, but then we do the work and tools, techniques, and exercises to do from this moment and move forward into healthier and happier. New levels, right? So that's all I have for you. If you like this, give it a thumbs up. If you know someone who can benefit from it, please share it. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I love you. You're amazing. You deserve to forgive yourself, because we all make mistakes and we all have failures, but we all don't learn from it unless we're self-aware. So take that into your next week, and I hope it's super sparkly everything. Peace.